out. Now, it works different in every county. I understand that. I live in Houston. I live in a master plan community. I personally can walk 3,000 homes in a weekend by myself, knocking on doors. I've done every election cycle until I was chairman. On election, the weekend before election. That doesn't work in a lot of rural areas, but you can do calling programs. These days, and I want to address this because it goes to Ken, your issue about young people, social networking. How many of you here either Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, things of that nature? I'm a pretty good number of you. I should have brought my phone and I would have Twittered while we were talking. I actually do that too a little bit, and I'm not a techno genius of any nature. But it's interesting because, well, let me talk about this real quick. We talked about a master list of voters, like Lincoln said. We talked about identifying, we know Republican voters generally going to vote Republican, Democrats vote Democrats. So we've got to find out what these undecided people are thinking in any election cycle. And then, as we get toward the election, turn to actually turning out those people who are favorable to you. The people who are Republicans or who are leaning Republican or voting for you, turn those out. How do you do that? Calling, walking, social networking. Well, let me just talk about social networking for a minute because it really is part of communicating. You actually, and as a candidate, you make fewer mistakes when you understand the battlefield. And today, if you are running for anything, know that you're probably being recorded, tweeted, picture taken. You cannot hide. It's probably going to be on the international internet before the end of the day. What's interesting about that, though, is I think it gives us some incredible opportunities. Now, the blog revolution started back in 2001, and it really went back because of the mainstream media's coverage of the war in Iraq. And if you remember, they were not really doing a fair job, they still aren't doing a fair job covering the war in Iraq. But what was interesting was now that you can find blogs that talk about anything and everything from local politics to international politics, sports, technology, anything that's in real time and it's 24 hours a day. What does that mean for political activists? I think that if you look at it, network news is dying. People don't get their information from the networks anymore. It's not because they don't want information, they just don't trust them, or that's not how they get their information. I think that when you look at it, really, they're looking to, and this is what polls shows, that most people get their information from friends and family members that are people they know and trust. Again, that gives you even more incredible power, and I think in particular the young people, whereas, people my age, I want to go sit down and look at you face to face and have a glass of Coke with you or a glass of tea and talk to you and see how you're reacting. Most young people now, have you ever sat down and had a conversation, they're actually looking as they're doing this, I mean, it's the way they communicate. And we have got to learn. The left has learned that. We've got to be just as good. It's kind of corny, but I think it's true. What we call the new media is really down to such an individual level that it's kind of the you media. You write it, you react to it, you blog it, you upload it, you design it, you tweet it, you basically rule it. And if you can do it, like I said, so can the other side. I love this. There's a blogger and a professor that calls the new world media, the online world, an army of Davids. Because one person with the right information and the right means to broadcast it can literally take down a giant. Now, one day you can be a David, the next day you may be a Goliath, so you have to be careful. Do y'all remember like I said, the blogging started with Iraq. Online activists actually went themselves to Iraq and filmed, either with video cameras or with phone cameras, filmed what was really going on in Iraq and came back and put it on the internet. That's what made the media at least start to sort of kind of report on it. Have any of you ever heard of Lila Rose? Lila Rose is a young woman, I'm not sure how old she is now, she's under 25 years old. She started going into Planned Parenthood, undercover filming, and basically blew the lid off all the lies that they've told over all these years about how they actually operate. Do you remember the young woman that just blew Acorn apart? She happens to be the granddaughter of one of our state cameras. Went in and with a little camera flew in the car. Do you remember Dan Rather, right before the 2004 election? The mainstream media actually put out all this garbage trying to tear down George W. Bush's military record. And in fact, it was a blogger who started looking, and the type that they used on the letter could not possibly have been done when they said, because those that didn't exist. So it really is amazing at what you can do with social media these days. And I just wanted to mention something in particular to you. These are tools, that's all. They're tools, and they come and go every day. There is a website called eStampede, the letter E, S-T-A-M-P-E-D-E, eStampede.com. I don't know again who put this together, but they do a fabulous job. It's basically one of the sites, and they have like 2 or 3 minute tutorials on how to Twitter, how to Facebook, and they're keeping up with evolving technology. They're very, very good. And I would really recommend that if you don't know how, you go take a look at that. Any other questions that we haven't covered? I know we've covered a lot of material tonight. I think one of the things that I could say in both being effective as local activists, as well as getting folks involved, regardless of their age or their background or where they come from, people want to be around other people. They want to socialize. They want to feel like they have a part of something bigger than themselves. And there are so many opportunities to volunteer. You can walk. You can run a phone bank or make telephone calls. I personally, I know y'all find this hard to believe because I do like to talk. I don't like to phone bank. I've done it. But I do like to walk and knock doors. You know, pass out literature, pass out bumper stickers, recruit volunteers. You know, get somebody who has a young person and buy pizza and Coke. It's amazing. Young people will come for food. I am telling you, food and T-shirts. It's amazing to me. Bring them, give them something to do. You know, again, you don't have to have a title or position to do this. Let's say, whoever made those brownies, delicious brownies, have a bake sale and bring the money to a campaign or contribute to a local county party. If you've got a young, listen, when I need something done, I call one of the young people, technology-wise. You know, get them to do a Facebook page for your campaign or your county. Get them to show you how to tweet and do all of those things. Just get people involved because your activity makes a difference. And it's quite frankly, in Texas, it doesn't just make a difference here in Delta County or in Hunt County or over in Kaufman. It makes a difference in the state of Texas. And when it makes a difference in the state of Texas, it makes a difference in America. I believe that we are the one state standing between freedom and left-wing government of Barack Obama. And now is the time to stand like never before. So, any other questions at all? I know we have covered a lot of stuff. Well, thank you for being so patient